Okay, welcome everybody to the closing bell chart chat, September 2nd. Another exciting day in the markets. We've got stocks on a bull market rampage right now. We've got Relic, AIML, fans, a lot of things right now are setting up for massive runs. Really an incredible setup. This is the belated summer bull market rally we've been talking about. Here it is. A few months late, but always good to have it here. Let's take a look at number one on our hit parade. Relic. As you can see, this thing has broken out. This stock has broke officially. Roughly 90 cent, let's even call it $1 range. $1 would be the right number. Before we get started, I forgot, read the disclaimer below, all the links. Everything we talk about is very high risk. You could lose all your money with these stocks. And, do your research before you invest. This is should be considered as paid content. And if you are just joining, you never heard of us before, check out, make sure to obviously press the like and subscribe button, leave your comments. But back to Relic. This is the breakout above $1. And what is most impressive is what you see happening is the stock is breaking out, right? But as you can see kind of from this chart action, it's not going like parabolic, like going crazy where it's just like crazy FOMO. It's much better. It's actually what we're seeing is a steady rise. Momentum, there's a steady pace. So it's not like one of these things which goes parabolic, shoots up, and then comes down. This thing is like a freight train, basically, or maybe like a rocket. It's just that slow lift and then just goes up. Again, the Canadian chart, the TSX here. So at least, I think we're looking at least $2 is the near-term target. Let me pull up the US, which will be a much better indicator. And I think this is probably going to start trading more in the US very soon. As you can see, we get a beautiful double bottom, maybe even like a head and inverse head and shoulders bottom, whatever you want to call it. But you can clearly see that the bull market is officially started, right? You're breaking out of this moving average, and the upside is, again, there's really not a lot of resistance until you get maybe, I don't even want to say $1.50 US, but it's probably in that $2 range. I don't think we're going to see any real resistance until about $2. Really very nice foundation, very solid foundation, and it's kind of lifting off. It's a very steady. I mean, it's lifting off at a very steady pace. So this is, let me just see this here. Yeah. And wow, this chart is even better. I mean, it doesn't get better than this. It really doesn't. It's an amazing looking chart. Let's take a look at what else we have going on here. Yeah, so probably now the question is how long will it take for Relic to be at $2? TBP we'll talk about later, but Relic, how long will it take for Relic to hit $2? I think probably, at the rate it's going, I don't think it's going to go parabolic right now. I think it's just going to have a nice kind of, it's just going to have this kind of probably, I said maybe it could take maybe 8 weeks. I think if it climbed to $2 the next 8 weeks, that would be a very sustainable pace. I think that would set up that would be like a nice angle. It wouldn't be too steep. And, I think that would be actually pretty nice. Even 12 weeks, but I think we can probably get there. Let's just say the next 4 weeks to 8 weeks, next 30, maybe by October, we can get to $2. Again, this is already more than doubled since we put out the initial alert on this just a little while back. This is where the action started to happen, right at 45 cents Canadian. And so it's already doubled in less than a month, roughly. Okay, let's get into our next 10 bagger here, and that is TBP. So this is gearing up, I think, for a big move. I mean, it's really kind of coiling here. We're above the 50-day moving average. So the thing that you got to look for is a breakout above that 30. So when this stock breaks above 32, 33 cents, it's going to run. I think it's going to run straight to 50 cents. Keep an eye on this like 30, I would even say, I would say right 34 cents. 34 cents. If it goes to 35 cents, that's like, more than enough. Okay, so Relic was mentioned on BNN. So from what I understand, there is a guy, was it Bruce Campbell? If is that the name? I saw some. I'm not familiar with him. I think he's a big money manager in Canada. He's got a bunch of Relic. I saw that mentioned. So there is a guy that. This thing is. I don't think Relic. I really don't think Relic is going to be pulling back at this point. I mean, if you look at the Relic chart, it is just too. It really looks like it's just going to take off. It doesn't look like one of these things where there's going to be a pullback. I mean, it looks basically like it's going to go to $1.25, $1.35, maybe pull back a little bit. I don't think we're going to see. I think you were talking to the U.S. See, I don't think we're going to see these levels. I mean, I don't see the stock going back to $1. I don't see that happening here. Let me look at the Canadian, U.S. just for your thing. Yeah, man, I don't see it happening. I don't see this thing going back to 80 cents or even 85 cents. I mean, what you see now is just an acceleration of the angle. And I think it's just going to have a nice steady pace. It's really, the trend here. It's a really nice steep. It's a steep trend, which is bullish, but parabolic to me usually is a bubble. So this is not a bubble. This is not a bubble trend. This is just a nice, really. It's an aggressive upward angle, but it's not in the bubble territory. Let's go into ESE, one of our stocks that we're looking for a breakout any day now. We've built a really nice base in ESE, NTEF in the US, ENTEF. This thing is basically waiting for a catalyst to break out above. You're going to want to watch this $1.20 range. Once the stock breaks out of $1.20, it's going to go straight to $2. There's really not a lot between $1.20 and $2. And from there, we have a shot at $4 or $5. So I think we're going to definitely see new highs. And again, so we introduced the ESE, I think, at 35 cents last December. Already a 10 bagger. And again, you're going to see another 10 bagger, a double 10 bagger dip. Speaking of which, Fans is another one that I think is in the same position. So again, it's a stock we introduced last year at, 20 cents. $2, $2.40, I believe. And now this thing is starting to move. Look at this. You got a really nice chart pattern here. It's climbing slowly above this 50-day moving average. And, once this thing goes above 87 cents, that's going to be your bull market official kickoff. Let's see here. Let me put this guy. Yeah, so, yeah. But okay, so let's take a look right here. So Fans, once this thing breaks out, 80, 85 cents, we're looking at closing this gap over here, which is in the dollar range. And I think we're going to easily see $2 in the next few months. So Fans, okay, so these stocks really right now, these are in the next 30 days. By October, November, we're going to kind of have to revisit what happens then. But right now, the next like 4 to 6 weeks look very bullish for a lot of these microcaps. Okay, so I showed you the ESE. We looked at, okay, here's another one, VISB. It's interesting. Yesterday, again, we kind of a bit of a fake out here right now because yesterday's chart, based on yesterday's chart, this thing should be like, it's so bullish. I mean, that kind of bounce off this moving average. You have this closing high. You have this kind of, what do you call this, upside type of pattern. This thing looks like it's ready to explode. Like it could double like overnight. That's kind of what this kind of shows. But today, it's it's not showing very. I mean, look, the stock is up, but it's not up by a big number. It's like just like I like to see, if you look at that kind of chart, I like to see the closing price significantly above the opening price, not so close near it. Normally, like right now, like I would want to see VISB at like 61 cents, 62 cents, something like that. That would be super bullish. But one day does not make a chart. Look, so if you look at this short term, this is looking bullish. So today was just maybe kind of like a breather, if you will, kind of in an uptrend, but a breather. Let's take a look at the 1 week chart. Yeah, this 1 week chart looks ultra bullish. So tomorrow's Friday. So probably we're going to close. I'm assuming we're going to close somewhere in this range. Probably, hey, if we close at 62 cents, 63 cents, that would be nice. Even at this range, it would still be nice because this is a very bullish setup. You can see this thing is like kind of coiling and it just wants to blow up. So the next thing on this thing is probably going to be, $1.50 or so. So this is like almost triple. Can easily go to $1.50 by October. The fans definitely looks great. Fans chart looks amazing. I mean, again, the fans always takes longer than we expected. I mean, eventually gets there, but it kind of gets there in like a meandering way. So, and here is the weekly. So everything is looking really good. I mean, it's just very frustrating on a short-term kind of cycle, and it requires a lot of patience. But I think you're going to see this thing, $1.20 probably in the next 2 weeks, and $2 next 6-8 weeks. Okay, AIML. I'm surprised this one is actually up, not up even more right now. But as you can see, what is going on here? You're kind of starting to see a lot of these charts look similar now, right? This nice bounce. It broke out of the 50-day moving average. Look at the volume, very strong volume. And now it's just kind of like sneaking up. It's like walking up. I think it's going to accelerate, but these last couple of days it's just kind of been walking up, which is nice. It's not like going parabolic. There's no bubbles here. No parabolic bubbles, just a nice steady pace, but brisk. It's like the stock AIML is moving at a nice brisk pace. And again, 85 cents right now. You had a long consolidation period. So I'm expecting once it breaks out, let's say above $1.50, we could see sort of a matching upside. So probably $2 plus, $2.50, I think is reasonable in the next 60 days. 60 days, I think it would take to get there. What else is happening on our hit parade? Let's jump back to RHT. Pretty strong trading right now. Yeah, look at this. I mean, here is the 1 hour chart, and as you can see, there's just like steady buying. It's just like increasing it's like an increasing buying, like an increasing, like it's an aggressive angle, but it's not like, massive, FOMO action. I think we're going to see the FOMO action, when it breaks out of $2. Until then, I think we're just going to see it's like a stealth bull market, basically. Like nobody even knows that Relic is running right now. This is like the best kept secret, in the micro cap sector. Let's take a look. Resistance at 85 cents on AIML. I see what you're saying. Okay, you're looking at this. It looks like there's some resistance, but not. Let me look at the 1-day chart. You know what? I get what you're saying. You do have a valid point. I think we're bumping up against that resistance. I think it's not as strong as. I don't think it's as strong. I don't want to say as it looks. I don't think it's. I see. It's definitely. There's definitely some there, but like kind of the way you see the way the chart is moving now, that aggressive angle, it looks like it could just blow right through it. So it doesn't. I wouldn't be concerned about it. I would say that once it breaks out of there, that's going to be a level of support. Like I mean, look at this. The stock is 80. Okay, so we basically broke out of it pretty much. I would say there's really probably once it breaks out of like 90 cents, that's really, you might want to look at 90 cents. After 90 cents, it's pretty much, escape velocity. This thing is going to go to like $1.25, $1.50, $2.50 and change. Yeah, if you look at this kind of angle, right? Look at what's happening right here. It's very strong. I mean, it's a very strong angle. It's like aggressive buying. You see volume. So yeah, so this is, I think this is going to act more as a support very shortly. And look at this, RHT, we're making new highs. This is new, definitely. Well, obviously, this is we're past the 1-year high, and it's just moving such a nice pace. I mean, I really hope this does not like overheat, and I don't think it will. I think it's just gonna like, climb at a nice pace. It's trading massive volume. This is a lot of volume, right? So this is not like some thinly traded stock. This thing is really, really moving. TBP, yeah. So ESE, I mentioned that earlier. So ESE is basically, it's been, the stock was quiet for a couple of months. After they did that, again, once these companies do these Canadian financings, a lot of times it really derails them for a while. So that thing got derailed for a couple of months, and now it's got to like just get the momentum back. But it might take a little bit here, but we have a really. And I think once this thing starts moving, I mean, once they have some news coming out, people kind of, get that back into that rhythm of the news flow. You're going to see this breakout above $1.20. And again, once it's above $1.20, you're going to be on track to, $3 plus. So this is a really nice setup. Somebody was asking. Yeah, this thing has been kind of quiet. We gotta get the CEOs back on the live stream. It's basically at a base right here. It's kind of looking for direction. That's what this thing is doing. This thing is looking for direction. It's been a rough summer for a lot of stocks. One thing I want to point out here is fabled FCO. We had Peter, the CEO, on the live stream yesterday. And one thing, it's funny. I sent out a tweet, I think, saying, "Hey, this chart looks like it's just like it's like a setup. It's looking for a reason to explode." And then, he was mentioning to me that some like analyst or money manager told him that. So it's not just me who's crazy. I mean, FCO is they got some really interesting. I mean, again, I'm not a geologist. I don't know anything, but the data that they're putting out is, to me, it sounds very compelling. I mean, it sounds like they got something really, could be something really incredible there. And, you know, I don't think it's going to take much to move the stock. I mean, there's a lot of people who follow it. And I think it's basically just waiting for that, you know, that one thing, that, you know, one piece of news, and, you know, it's going to be back into flying at 30, 40, 50 cents, maybe even higher. It's one of those deals. So let's see, we got 10 minutes before the close. Let's see how our favorite stocks are doing. Let's see. Yeah, I would definitely agree. So again, the fundamentals, I think the fundamentals there are, not that this is about fun. By the way, Lisa is going to be back on next week. I think Thursday. I'm looking. So next week we're going to be. I think Thursday. She's going to be on. I gotta get that confirmed. And again, their stories is pretty simple. The inflection point, they've turned profitable, and they're expecting what to do $2 million a quarter, $2 million a month run rate by the end of December. So $24 million run rate at December, and of course it's a snowballing. It's increasing because they're onboarding people. What is that worth? I mean, God, take a look at the massive valuation you're seeing in the telehealth sector. So again, I think if they actually deliver, so here's the thing, right? So once they do that, once they hit that 24 million run rate, then the financials come out. I think at that point, the market will see that this thing is real. I mean, they're going to know by October, once this quarter's numbers come out. But I think once they see the stuff that's in December, once people see some consistency, what happens at that point is, then that's when you get like institutional investors get interested, because then they're able to model the numbers and they're able to really extrapolate, where this thing can go. And then that's really going to be the thing that's going to move it. And again, you got that SaaS model, right? So it's recurring revenue. You're adding more people. So these guys can model it out. And once they're able to do that, it becomes really very exciting. That's where you get crazy multiples of like 50x revenues. So, can this thing be trading at $1 billion valuation? I think it can, if they hit like 25 million run rate by January. I think if they can do that, if they actually deliver that, they're going to get there. But the stock is going to move in advance of that. So I think there's definitely this thing has run. What's going on with what do you call it? This guy here. Trip. Yeah, man, Trip is a little quiet here. We're gonna get some action going in the stock. They canceled that merger, so that I would assume actually that would be positive news, but the company hasn't been promoting, so this is kind of what happens. Okay, AIML, 9 minutes to go, looking very, very strong. Let me see here. Let me see if we have a short-term chart. Yeah, here's like, again, there's not a lot of data, so you can't really get too much information. It kind of just gives you the overall trend. It's a 5-minute chart. Actually, this is not even good. I should do 15 at least. Let me see what that looks like. Yeah, the 5-minute better. It's almost kind of tick by tick. So, as you can see, we're getting a nice, once it broke out of that 60 cents moving average, it's just been climbing at a nice steady pace. And, yesterday when it hit 82 cents, the moving average at 82 cents, that acted as a level of support and it bounced off of there. So now you see the MACD about to cross over. You're getting some nice healthy volume the last week or so. So this thing is definitely in bull mode. Let's take a look at Logic. So Logic, we had Brent on today, and again, this is very, very bullish. Again, this is like kind of doing this coiling thing. I think what we're seeing happen here is it's just kind of waiting for an excuse to break out of this $4 range. To get a really, I would say, once you have a high conviction close above $4, and by that I mean like 425, 430, like that, you're going to start to see this thing really, really pick up the pace. Again, your next level of resistance is probably like in the $5 range. There's going to be some. There's going to be some at $7 a little bit. I don't think that much, but this thing is again, it's looking for an excuse to go higher. And I think, again, you see this double bottom here. I think you have a really good shot of, like 12, this number, $12.50, $14 in the next few months. And ultimately, we could be at, if you look at the chart, I don't know, man. You look at this chart, potentially $40. I've seen these types of things happen. So, there's no reason why it can't, right? Once they start doing that ad tech business with the high multiples, you're going to see, some action. Hey, I'm glad you like it. Yeah, we have summer's over, so we have companies coming back right now. And this next couple of weeks are going to be very, very exciting. Let's see. Okay, so anybody that's watching this for the first time, like and subscribe to these to the channel, to the YouTube channel, or if you're watching this, I don't know, on Twitter, follow our Twitter or whatever it is. Actually, better yet is join the YouTube. And links, if you want to get our Telegram channel, the link is in the video description below. All that other good stuff. Let me see, what else do we have here? And of course, if you want to be on our email list and get all the news and everything else, just go to the Wall Street Reporter website and a email box will pop up. PKK, yeah, we're not really, we're not covering PKK. Actually, I haven't looked at it in a while. It's probably doing, I'm sure it's doing well. Where is it? PKK. Oh, there we go. Yeah, this thing is, listen, PKK, I think, is moving hard. I did say, I think this thing, it was at this, hang on a second. It was at this level the last week where it looked kind of like it could go either way, like it could go break out or it could, go higher. And again, this thing could easily go to, 14, 15 bucks, maybe more. The chart is looking good. A little bit, it's my concern is a little bit the fundamentals. It's getting to over $1 billion market cap. It's a little aggressive. So the risk, I think there's more risks as you're getting here. And what I think you saw over here, this breakout from 670 to 950, it's a big move. It's a really strong parabolic move. It's almost like a bubble type of move. So it's getting into this kind of like, it's getting into the danger zone. Go higher, but it also at the same time, I've seen these types of, when things get too much of that steep angle, they also tend to burst. So, and there's a lot of things that can pop at this thing. So that's what makes me nervous. It could, it's almost like it could go one of two ways. It could either double or it could drop. You got to kind of, but it looks more bullish, to be honest. It looks a little more bullish right now. So Delic. Let's see. Let's get back to Delic. Delic is actually looking pretty good. We built up a nice base. Yeah, Delic is, again, it's a little bit like the other one for Happy. It's had this is a stock that kind of debuted on our platform like right after the market burst in March, February, March. And it's taken them a while to get momentum. The summer was pretty rough. So look, I think it's built a pretty nice base here, and it's going to be probably moving higher. I think it's definitely going to be, I shouldn't say probably, I think it's definitely going to be moving higher, but it's looking for a catalyst right now. It's basically looking for a catalyst. It might take another month in this range, maybe breakout. It's hard to tell. I think it may need to build a little bit of a bigger base. I don't see it going lower. I'll put it that way. I think we're going to maybe build a base. Happens in the next. You got to keep an eye on this thing here. So let's see, fans. What does fans do? And this is not going to close at the high of the day. Again, fans will always, frustrate people. No surprise over there. What else we got going on? So RHT, how are we going to close on RHT? 1 minute to the bell. Again, if you compare the breakouts between peak and RHT, very different. As you can see, there's no these. You see basically a nice kind of steady pace. It's an aggressive pace, but you don't see 3-4 days of just straight up. Like you don't see that, which is good, because that, to me, like what we saw over here, this type of thing. I don't like when you see that, too much of that. This is like what you kind of see with Relic is it's made these kind of pops, but then it consolidates a little bit, and then it goes hard. So there's a structure to the stock. The stock has a structure right now. So this bull trend in Relic has there's underpinnings to it. I guess is what I'm trying to articulate. So this thing is looking pretty good. So it looks like we're closing at $1.23. Nice close. What about Visby? How did that do? Wow, closing at the low of the day, which I'm not a fan of. But let's take a look at the 1 hour. Okay, so it's I would say it's kind of neutral. It's neutral, but let's see. So what is it going to do tomorrow? It'll be interesting what it does, because it's weird. The overall chart is very bullish. So I wonder, we might even open a little bit lower tomorrow and then close up in the 58-cent range. It'd be interesting to see what happens. But yeah, definitely the Visby chart is looking very bullish. Let's see, AIML solid close, 86 cents. And you can really see that this is a chart that is, this thing looks like it just wants to go higher. So I think we'll probably see $1 next week. I think we'll probably it'll build a base in the dollar range, and we'll see what happens then. Let's see here. TBP solid close. Again, you want to watch this breakout above 33 cents. Logic, okay, decent close. near the lows of the day, but that's okay. I think we're coiling for a big move coming up. So as you can see, this is the logic chart. This is a 30-minute chart. And what you have here is basically a pennant forming. And at the moving average, so it's closing right at the support. So that really puts this chart in a very, hey, there you go. So it puts this in a very good position to break out tomorrow. So tomorrow is actually a key day for logic. Tomorrow is going to be like a, I don't want to say make it or break it, but tomorrow you could see if this thing breaks above like 410 or something like that, 420, 415, that will be super bullish. So it's a pretty good setup for tomorrow. All right, with that said, that was the closing bell. Thank you everybody for joining, and I'll see you next week. Thank you for joining the live stream.